A year and 5 months ago, Patchy Mix in Bellator in France won a split decision over Magomedov. The fight was in May of last year, but it was just this week that Tapology got notice from the French MMA Federation that Patchy Mix, according to them, failed a drug test. So the French MMA Federation overturned his win to a loss, not even a no contest, but a loss. Patchy Mix says, weed ain't no performance-enhancing drug, only in Paris, shake my head. His fiance, Tatiana Suarez, says he didn't smoke weed in competition. The lab messed up and said he tested over the limit, but decimal was in the wrong spot. He actually was not over the limits. He spent $20K in lawyer fees trying to fix it. They still left him over. Honestly, it's super messed up. France is a nightmare to work with when it comes to MMA. So while the French MMA Federation overturns it to a loss for Patchy Mix win over Magomedov still stands based on a conversation just had with Mike Mazzulli, who oversaw the drug testing of the Bellator card in France. Test was over marijuana, but Mazzulli's test was negative. Patchy Mix has had a rough couple months. He finally got out of the shackles of the PFL organization and was a promising prospect coming into the UFC. He had a lot of hype coming into the organization. He generated a lot of that hype by himself with his talk, but also his great performances in the PFL and Bellator, and people like Murab Davalishvili co-signing for him, but it did not pan out for him in his first two UFC fights. He lost both of them. DC was whispering to Tom Aspinall, but he had a hot mic with the Mac Life, and he said, these matchups in this division, the type of effing run you can go on could be crazy, because, I mean, Jalton can't fight, and talking about Volkov, even him, you beat him in the first round. Interestingly, Tom Aspinall's dad doesn't want him to fight in the UFC after his contract is done. He wants him to go to boxing. He feels there's more money there. I don't want him to sign a new contract, and he has 3 more fights left on his contract now. People have various opinions on this. Aspinall's dad's bugging. His striking is elite for MMA, not pro boxing. That switch ruins more careers than it makes. Asking Ngannou, ask McGregor. Whole timing, defense, and rhythm are a whole different sport. Stay in the cage. That's the correct career move for Tom. No one left in the division that's remotely a draw if he beats Gunn. Even if the UFC is willing and able to make a super fight with Pereira Jones, what's the max he's going to make for those $5 million? He'd immediately make 10 times to box. Not really doing Tom any favors. If he loses the next 2, boxing wouldn't be lucrative, and this guy is burning bridges with the UFC. Umar Nurmagomedov wants the winner of his fight in Batista to get the next title shot. He wants that from Dana, and Dana had a response for him.
Possible to this fight contender, me and Mario.
Go out there and put on a show on Saturday that makes people go, damn, one of these guys should be fighting for the title next.
If Umar does get the title shot and Murad is still the champ and Murad happens to beat him, he will have beaten O'Malley twice, Umar twice, and Jan twice. Guram Kutateladze fought his first fight in ACA after being released by the UFC. He wins by TKO stoppage over Victor Hugo. His UFC career didn't pan out the way he wanted to. He had a lot of promise, but he ended up having a losing record in the end, 2 wins and 3 losses. Hamza Chimaev was in the corner of Kutateladze. Another former UFC fighter was also on the card and picked up a victory. Said Yakub Kakramanov got a first-round submission victory over El Billy. Also at ACA 194, a lot of people were sharing this moment with Al-Qazi and Gallagher, who were fighting against each other, but they showed their support for Palestine. But their fight didn't even end up happening for the weirdest of reasons. According to Al-Qazi, who entered the cage, said James Gallagher left because he didn't like the warm-up area backstage and the fight got canceled. So that's one of the strangest reasons for a fight cancellation at the last second I've ever heard of. Maybe there's more to this story, but yeah, very strange non-fight that didn't take place at ACA 194. The PFL has released Larissa Pacheco from her contract. We thank her for her memorable bouts and wish her the best in her future endeavors. That's what the PFL says. She's a former featherweight champion in their league. Pacheco holds a victory over current UFC bantamweight champion Kayla Harrison. They fought 3 times. Harrison took the first 2. Pacheco took the last one, so maybe Pacheco can move into UFC and fight Harrison. Harrison wants to avenge that loss. Pacheco feels she can become champ because she already beat Kayla Harrison 3 years back. Maybe she'll have trouble making weight, though. She hasn't fought at 135 in like a decade. At the time she was in the UFC, was 0-2 in the UFC, but now she's improved since that period in time. UFC bantamweight division needs more talent, so they should try and get Pacheco. Right now at the top of the division, they got that one great fight, Nunes versus Harrison. Aside from that, they really got nothing. If Nunes wins, she's just fighting all the girls she already beat. If Harrison wins, there's really no one interesting for her to fight. Division a little bit cooked at the top. Maybe Pacheco can uncook it if she can make 135 safely. Martin Buday is going to be taking on Will Fleury in Octagon MMA on the 28th of December. Buday returns to Octagon MMA. He was a champ in the organization before. Got on the Contender Series, won there, got into the UFC. Had a 7-1 record, was in the rankings, but the UFC cut him. That surprised some people because the UFC really needs heavyweights. It's a pretty bad division that lacks talent. You have a handful of good guys at the top, But the rankings, but the rest of the rankings, just average fighters. Outside of the rankings, it's really bad. So people were a bit surprised they got rid of Buday, but I guess they didn't like the way he fights, mostly decision victories. So they decided to cut him. Buday returns to Octagon MMA. He was the champ before. He fights for the title again December 28th. Dana White don't like the MMA media, but they sometimes act like a human resource department and are helpful for the UFC when they're firing people, because the UFC don't even tell people when they've been let go. They find out through MMA media social media accounts. Cody Stamen recently said, the way I was released wasn't great. I found out on Instagram. It would have been nice to get something from the UFC, like it would have been nice if somebody told me before. I had to learn about it via Instagram and Twitter. That sucked, but the UFC has always been really good to me. When you get kicked out of the UFC, you could try BKFC. It's being headlined by two former UFC fighters this weekend in Italy, October 25th, Saturday. Kamosi and Sakara headline in Rome. Or when you get kicked out of the UFC, you could try Karate Combat. Karate Combat on Halloween, October 31st, is headlined by two former UFC fighters, Hall and Perez, in a light heavyweight contest. That's KC57, Miami, Florida. Excellent matchups, except I'd rather have Izzy versus MVP and Robert Whitaker versus Ohio. Ohio wants to fight Whitaker. Izzy and MVP are friends, so they may not fight each other. Bo Nichols shouldn't be fighting at a White House, let alone the White House. John Jones, attracted to white men, not Mexican. Sorry, Ryan Garcia. Calling it now gone. Somehow survives first two rounds. Tires out Aspinall, winner by unanimous decision. Not the craziest theory. That's what Cyril Gahn is trying to do. Paddy's tougher than people give him credit for. His ground game is a complete problem if he hurts you. Creates chaos in the cage. He may not look pretty, but the guy's dangerous.
I want to say a big thank you, all of you, because I'm getting overwhelming support. Also, thank you to my team, American Top Team, my teammates, all the coaches, my manager, Brian, Sucker Punch Management, and of course to UFC. This obstacle will not stop me. I had a lot of harder challenges before, but I will never stop, and I will always keep moving forward. I'm in this sport because I want to become a champion. I want to be the best, but I also want to enjoy the process. Guys, so don't expect me to change my personality to please someone else. It's not gonna happen. So love me or hate me, you have to get used to it.
Tom Aspinall recently said that he wouldn't fight a friend and training partner, Ante Dalia, if he ever earned a shot at the heavyweight title. He would rather vacate the belt than fight him, saying that friendship matters more than titles and money. Dana White hates that concept of friends not fighting each other and therefore not allowing some matchups to take place.
I hate that. Many friends, relatives, name it, have all fought each other before. It doesn't determine whether you are friends with somebody or you hate somebody. You're competing against them to see who the best is, but that's his decision. To even think about vacating it because you don't want to compete against somebody is absolutely insane, but he's a grown man. That's up to
I don't know what relatives Dana is referencing fighting. Maybe he thought the movie Warrior happened in the UFC.